Okay, SteelRising, the review. I want to say, first of all, thank you to Moozy. He was the one that recommended that we did this as a review because he thought I would enjoy the game, especially as it's very Souls-like. By that, I mean like Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Elden Ring, Timesia, which is what we did recently as well. So if you're interested in your Souls game, this review may cater to you quite well. So SteelRising, and we've done it on the Xbox Series X, is a 27 gig file, not small, in between the small and the medium, I would say. The digital price at the moment is £50. The deluxe edition, the digital deluxe edition, is £59. And the physical edition itself, which I didn't go and look for, let me just quickly have a look and see if it is even possible to buy this as a physical copy. SteelRising. Can it be purchased? PC instant delivery, £23. The digital edition for PC, £29. So can the game not be bought? Really? SteelRising. Really? It cannot be bought. Let's have a look. Shopping. CD Keys has it. Oh, Amazon had £40 for the basic edition. Ooh. Argos has it £40 for the basic edition as well. Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So, yeah. I guess you can buy the physical copy if you wish to, around £40. Or spend, you know, the more expensive if you want that digital. It's available PS5, Xbox Series S and X, and Windows. Publisher is Nacon. Developer is Spiders. Not our spiders, just another spiders. It's listed as a action adventure. Released, it was last year. I know I'm not doing, you know, I know it didn't come out this year. So why are you doing a review if it wasn't this year? It was because it was a recommendation, okay? 4K, HDR10, 60 FPS with ray tracing, single player only. And yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going to start off with before we chip into our usual breakdown. Because a lot of that information is, you know, it's important to some people. Some people, they're like, don't care, just tell me about the review. So first things first, what we always look into when we do any of our review breakdowns. Choice of music used, audio effects, and voice acting. Soundtrack, I can't fault it. I freaking love the music in this game. It was very Souls-like. Really, really Souls-like. I can't fault it. I enjoyed the soundtrack. It worked for the entire game. It fitted the era as well for the entire game. And I can't say nothing about it. Well, I can't say nothing negative about it. When it comes to the effects, the gun noises, the weapons that you use, the explosions, the buffs, the magic effects and stuff like that, it, again, can't fault it. I don't think I've got a single note on my book, and we got lots of notes as well. I've got nothing to fault, anything audio related, other than the basic level of audio was a little bit too quiet. So I had to go into my Elgato and add an additional 20% onto the capture card to boost the level of the audio up, because it was a little bit quiet across the board. I don't know why that is. I really don't know why that is. When I first started playing it, a lot of people in my Trovo chat were saying, Steve, it's quiet. Compared to your voice, it's quite quiet. So I added the booster, and then everything was fine from that point onwards. So I don't know if that's something that they can roll a patch down to fix. I was wearing a headset throughout the whole game, so I had the audio going straight into my brain hole, and but because I have it turned up anyway, I couldn't really tell if it was too loud against my voice. But my community, you know, they told me to up it, and I did. So I mean, other than that, I I can't say anything bad. The voice acting was crisp, very clear, very understandable. It's a mixture of English and French. I don't speak French myself, but so thank God for the subtitles, because I don't speak French and I don't understand French. But they bracket the French words in English, so you can actually read as they talk and understand. But yeah, the voice acting was on point with the main character. The main character is very, very vocal. With all the NPCs that you run around and do quests with, all the NPCs had crisp dialogue. It was easy to understand what they were saying, and the voice acting was on par. It was good. I couldn't fault it. The graphics, texturing, and weather effects. So we ran the game. We had the choice if we wanted to run the game in quality mode or if we wanted to run the game in performance mode. And as I said before, the game does scale to 4K, HDR10, ray tracing, and 60 FPS. So the game visually looks stunning. Absolutely stunning. I ran the game in performance mode, which I wanted the game to be able to be... I wanted it to be smooth and as quick as it possibly could be, because graphics for me aren't really it's not really a massive deal for me. Yes, this game looked absolutely beautiful, really beautiful. The colors that they use, the effects that they use, the palette that they use, all absolutely stunning, and again very Souls-like, and it worked. There weren't any issues with the graphics. There weren't any issues with, you know, missing textures, split textures, or just downscale textures. None of that was ever applied. There are some slight weather effects in the game itself, like the rain, and yeah, it looked stunning, absolutely stunning. So I can't say anything around the graphics in a bad way. So yeah, but around the character model design, yeah, the character that you use, you could say it's a doll, puppet, or a mech. Customizing options were very I'm trying to excuse me. They were basic customizing options to make your character look as unique as possible, but it looked great. It really did. Did it bother me that there weren't a lot of setup options for your character model? Maybe a little bit. But the character plays a massive importance to the story on how it looks, so I can understand that they couldn't go crazy with the customizing options. If you're familiar with the Souls games, you know you can obviously create a male, female character, and you can go really into detail on how big they are, how small they are, what color skin they are. You can go nuts with the customizing option in a lot of the Souls games. In this game, you can't. It's really basic. Skin tone was one thing, hair option was another thing, and then the material that you're made of was another thing. That was it. Oh, you obviously get to choose what class that you want to start off with as well. But there wasn't a lot of physical changes that you could make with the character's physique. Yeah, it was very basic, like really basic. Gameplay and mechanics, gameplay very Souls. I'm going to keep repeating what I'm saying, but again, if you've played the Soul games, you know exactly what you're going to get yourself into. The movement is very mech-like. I mean, it's not as smooth as it would be of a Souls game, because your character isn't human. Your character moves and feels like the movement style of what would be an android, in a way, or a doll, or a puppet. So it was very... stiff would be the wrong word. it didn't feel fluent enough to be human, but it didn't interfere with the gameplay at all. It still played incredibly well. So I can't say nothing. I can't say nothing against it. I can't. But the mechanics, it's all Souls-like, extremely Souls-like, and yeah. I've played so many freaking Souls games over my lifetime of gaming that a lot of the games do feel exactly the same as each other. But this one, it felt good. It worked very, very well. I can't really, and I'm trying to say something bad about, but I can't. I really, really can't. They give you a great variety of weapons to play with. They give you weapons that also have built-in special abilities, a lot of elemental stuff as well, plays quite heavily in the game, fire, ice, and lightning, for example. And it's, again, I'm trying to think of something bad, but I really cannot come up with anything that would go against the review. I'm trying. I'm trying. But the mechanics, you know, the boss fights were really good. Again, you can't just go Hambo. You can't just go in there and swing in a weapon. Some enemies and bosses both had their weaknesses that you had to look into. So you had to think around some of these enemies that you were fighting. But you won't need to think hard. The game does help you quite a bit, especially if you do all of the side quests before you go running in. I'm a side quest person. I love to do side quests over story, and some of the side quests aided you with the support around the story stuff that you did. So I would definitely do side over story. Just my opinion. Replayability and game difficulty. Now, replayability, this is one thing I have to obviously talk about. You will get to a point in the game where the game says, you know, you're about to get to, like the point of no return. Like a lot of the Souls games too, they warn you, you know, if you progress through here, blah, 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 blah. One thing I do not like, and this is going against the review itself 100%, is that once you've completed the game, that file is locked and you can't go back into it. I tried continuing and it put me straight at the credits. I tried loading the past save and it went straight to the credits again. And once the credits are over, you're back at the main menu. So the only option that you've got is New Game or New Game Plus. Obviously, New Game Plus will give you the option to carry all the stuff that you carried over from your last game, and New Game is pretty much a new game. Now, what I really do not like about that is because it locks you from going back to do any side missions. It locks you to go back to finish any of the quests. And another kicker in the teeth, if you bought the DLC, which I did, you can't do the DLC because your file's locked to the end. That's it. So you have to do the DLC before you do endgame. If you do endgame, you're screwed. You got to do it all over again. And I really didn't like that. There is a lot of replayability in this game. Don't get me wrong, but just do not do the endgame without doing everything else first. And we're on stream number 5, average of 5 hours per stream. So there is a lot of time that you can sink into this game, 100%. And I will probably at some point do the DLC and a New Game Plus file just to experience it. But it was a bit of a kick in the cojones, to say that you've done all that hard work, now you got to start all over again. Oh, but you want to go back and do the DLC? Sorry, you can't do that. You now have to start all over again. So, to that. That's a big kicker. But there is a lot of replayability in this because of obviously all the side quests that you can do, all the hidden things that you can find, and this game it's full of hidden surprises, hidden passages, hidden pathways. Yeah, if you're an achievement whore, I don't even think you can get them all done within your first playthrough. I got 35 out of 50. The other 5 is the DLC, I believe. So 55 in total, but I believe there's only 50 base game achievements. And we got 35 over 50. And I can get 2. I went through the achievement list. I can get 2 of those achievements within 5 minutes. But I can't do that now because I can't reload my bloody save file without going down the new Game Plus route, which is a big kick in the cojones. So, yaha. Game difficulty? This game's not hard. This game's not hard. I love to grind in Souls games to make them easier and easier and easier. I'm guessing if you tried to speedrun this game, I guess the difficulty will definitely be there. But I didn't find the game hard at all. I destroyed every boss. We died. And just bear in mind, it is a Souls game. Those games are known for killing the player as often as possible. We died twice. Both to water. Both in stupid ways I shouldn't have died. The first time I slipped off of a boat and fell into the water when I wasn't trying to go into the water. And the second time I wanted to take a shortcut past a little bit of like a water display area. And it didn't look deep. So I thought I'd jump in to jump across and I drowned. On stream. People laughed at me. Yeah. So stay away from water. Spend time leveling, and you will probably breeze through this game just as easily as I did. Most likely. Most likely. Any game customization and stats building, it's a Souls game, so of course it's going to have stats building, and it is extremely similar. Strength, dexterity, or agility, magic, health, and all that stuff. The stats are super similar to all other type Souls games, and yeah, you need to decide which class. And I did write it down. There were 4 starting classes: the bodyguard, the soldier dancer, the alchemist. Bodyguard, soldier, dancer, alchemist. I went with the alchemist build because I wanted to try something just a wee bit different. And I freaking loved it, by the way, because my weapons, when I buffed them up with frost, fire, or lightning, I spec'd myself up to be really OP with that. So maybe less classes, well, definitely less classes than what you're normally used to when it comes to like a Dark Souls game that has like 8 to 10 different classes. But again, they all fit around the story character that you're using, which is a little bit different because usually, you know, you could take whatever route you want to go down in Souls, and you could be whatever you want, do whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. But this character that you took control of is extremely important, like really, really important to the story lore. And that's the next thing. Story, if applicable. The whole game is heavily story driven. Like really heavy. Is it easy to follow? 90% yes. 10% is a bit jumbled. But I understood what my mission was from start to finish. I understood what my journey was, where my journey was leading me, and what I needed to do. And I didn't really no, I followed it to the T. There was just a few small finicky things. Some of the quests that you're given, they give you ultimatums, so you've got option A, option B, and I felt that the game didn't do a good job to really tell you what the good and the bad was in all of it. I had a few secret achievements that were locked, and I'm guessing they're down to endings. I'm not going to talk about what ending I got. I'm not going to talk about what happened within the story because those are all spoilers, and I do everything I can to make sure that my reviews are spoiler free. I really enjoyed the story. I had a blast playing through this game from start to finish, and I will at some point do it again and do different decisions just to see what sort of ending I get. If you want to tell me what ending you got down in the YouTube comments, feel free to do so. We can talk about it. Knock yourself out. But I won't talk about what I got because it is a massive spoiler. Online co-op modes, features, and stability. Can't talk about any of that. There is no online. It's a single player game only. So yeet that question out the window. Purchase price, digital price, value of content. Is this game worth 50 quid? Is the game worth 50 quid? Is the digital deluxe worth 58 quid, 59 quid? Physical edition around £40. I think 40 to 45. I think 45 would be a pinnacle, perfect price point for me. I got the game on sale. I got the digital deluxe edition on sale for, I think it was about £32, which I am 100% happy I paid that price. 100% happy. I think that's an amazing price. Would I like to pay 40 to 45? I would be happy to pay that as well. Anything close to 50, you're pushing a limit again. I don't like games being super expensive because it's just not fair that the price of games constantly keeps going up 50, 55, 60 and above. And I think it's ridiculous. But yeah, I feel if the game is £45, I feel 100% value of content is there. 100%. Do I feel it's there for 50? You're pushing it just a bit. You are pushing it just a little bit. You may agree, but it's just an opinion. It doesn't really... yeah, no. I'm happy. I'm happy with what I paid for 100%. Microtransactions and any DLC. There is DLC. I didn't want to get involved into the DLC because we're doing a base game review. So there is already DLC available for you to play. You just need to make sure that you speak to the NPC to activate the DLC before you finish endgame. Do not do endgame until then. Glitches and bugs. Oh boy. Oh boy. We're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about them. But it's going to be mixed into the notes that I've got written down. So what I've got written down, apart from everything that I've already spoken to, the game has a lot of shortcuts to help the player navigate around the game. I love the amount of shortcuts that they have, to be honest. Fast travel with the carriageway. In most Souls games, you rest at like a bonfire or a lantern to do that. You just do that at the carriageway to fast travel in this. Lots of freedom throughout the main game. Yes, there is. Loads of NPC interactions, including side quests that you can miss, so make sure that you're very thorough. We had 3 game soft locks, and that is our character got stuck in something and couldn't get out of it, and I had to quit to the main menu and load back in. All 3 of those times I jumped into something or onto something and then just got stuck and I couldn't move. That should never be a thing. Ever. That should never, ever be a thing. And I'm pretty disappointed that that is a thing. A friend of mine, Moozy, who recommended I play this game, also got stuck in one of the similar places, which is hilarious. Softlock should never be a thing in a game. But luckily, the checkpoints are very good in this game. And I was able to, like I said, shut the game down. Not shut the game down. Exit to the main menu, load back in, and it put me back where a checkpoint was, which is thank God for that. But we also had 3 full game shutdowns. And that's where you're playing the game, and then all of a sudden you're yeeted straight to the dashboard of your console. We had 3 of them. And that when a game does that, it's an emergency shutdown on the software. They say it's to protect your console from any possible danger. I think it's bollocks. I mean, it should never happen. In a video game, it should never, ever happen. And yet we experienced 3 in 25-ish hours of gameplay itself. They need to find out what the hell's going on in the code of the game. 2 of the game crashes happened in the same way, and that was when I was teleporting from my carriage to an area, and it just instantly shut the game down. They have to fix that and get it done fast, because to me it should never be a thing in the game. And as the game came out, 8th of the 9th, 2022, September, 8th of September, and those bugs are still a thing. Please fix it, please, real quick. Boss fights were unique and epic. I 100% agree. But I don't like the fact that a lot of the bosses are also basic enemies within the game. But at the same time, when I think about Dark Souls and stuff like that, they do that a lot. They do that a lot. Where you're running around and you're like, hold on, you're a boss, and now you're a normal mob, and yeah. So I do wish the variety of enemies was better. They reuse a lot of the enemies throughout the game itself. They really, really do reuse a shitload of the same enemies. And not only that, when there's at a certain point in the game, they introduce you to a little tick spider mech enemy that buffs the enemies around it. They overuse that way too bloody much. Like way too much. At nearly every corner you go down, there's a freaking buff spider with a massive mech standing right next to it. So in terms of enemy variation, I am disappointed, because I think they could have gone a little bit more creative, above and beyond. Some of the enemies do look fantastic. Some of the bosses look incredible, like really good. But these are machines, which means that the creativity and the design work in those machines, there's a massive scale. There were like scorpions with Wolverine claws, big royal knights with massive royal shields and spears. They could have done a bit more in terms of enemy variation, but for my liking. We had a glitch where some of the enemies' health bars weren't showing as well, and we had that a lot. Again, simple patch. They're gonna this game is buggy and it needs fixing with a lot of these problems. So please get that also fixed. Being able to equip more than 2 weapons would be nice. In the older Souls type games, you could have only a limited amount equipped, but throughout the later Souls games, you could have quite a variety of an arsenal, as long as you can carry it within your weight capacity. And in this game, you can only have 2. That's it. And I used, what's the best way of describing them? Like police buttons, like sticks, dual wielding. And I had 3 of them: fire, ice, and lightning. And I thought it would have been really nice to be able to switch amongst all 3 of them at once, so I could always have an element ready. And unfortunately, I had to... you can pause the game, but when you go into your inventory, it doesn't pause the game, so it keeps on going. If you're in a boss fight, you're going to get absolutely destroyed while you're fricking around with your inventory. And I had to switch out weapons in a boss fight really quickly before I got my face smashed in, just to try the element out on the other sticks, just to make sure it's not weakest to that. And if you allow a player to equip at least 3 weapons, I think that would just solve all of that sort of a problem. Like I said, the game is very heavily weakness to certain elements based, if that makes sense. So you need to find the right thing for the right enemy. You could also throw potions and vials at enemies as well. You could throw lightning vials, fire vials, and stuff like that. And that I don't think you'll ever have an issue with, because there's a lot of bars that a lot of slots for the item slots themselves. But yeah, again, being able to use more than 2 weapons at once, I think would be quite nice. Reusing a lot of enemies, we've already talked about that. We had a bug where there was dialogue. There was no audio. The camera wasn't looking at the person that was talking as well, and it usually does. But the audio, the subtitles kept going. Like the person was talking, but the person had no vocal audio. So another bug, again, that I'm guessing that they need to patch. I do like the fact that enemies can beat each other up. I find that hilarious. And can't continue the game once completed. That's pretty much everything. So what it boils down to right now Oh, sorry, I missed one. Dark Souls type upgradables done. So, you can upgrade your weapons. You can upgrade, just like you can upgrade your character. You need to find ingredients. It's mainly just materials, certain bars, certain metals. But you can upgrade your character weapons 5 times. You can also upgrade. It's it's an oil canteen. Like in Dark Souls, it's an Estus flask. It's an oil canteen. You need to find the ingredients for that and use that at the rest points, and then you can upgrade that too. There are souls that you can consume. Again, the similarities are unreal, but I loved it. I really did. So what it boils down to now is, what would I score it, and would I recommend it? So I'm gonna first off do the easiest one. Would I recommend this game? Yes, I bloody would. To anyone that's into their Souls game, yes, I would highly recommend it because it has a great story. The story is one of its key strengths. But what would I score it out of 10? And this is a hard one because though I did enjoy the story a lot, there shouldn't be soft locks. There shouldn't be game crashes. There shouldn't be missing health bars, and there shouldn't be audio dialogue missing from the game. And all of those are, yes, they're patchable bugs, but I am playing this game. What are we? September, early September as well. October, November, December, January. 4 months later, we're playing this game. And those bugs are still a thing. Imagine what the game would have been like when the game first came out. Would it have been worse? Could there have been far more bugs than what I've ever seen before? This review isn't really a fair review on a day one launch, but it is still a review at the end of the day. I have to take those bugs into consideration, and the game crashes into consideration too. So I'm happy scoring SteelRising a strong 7.5 out of 10. Thinking. Oh, I want it to be higher, but the game crashes and the soft locks should never be a thing in the game. Do I push it to an 8? Lack of enemy variation, the missing health bars. No. 7.5 out of 10. That's it. That's my opinion. That's my review score. But I am still recommending this game as a Souls game because it's great to play. If you enjoyed the review video, let me know, please, in the comments down below. It'd be nice to have some interaction on the videos as well. And thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I hope to see you guys next time in the next review. Stay safe, healthy, and well. Bye, guys.